and welcome. Good morning, Monday morning. We're excited. It's the Monday after the glorious club, Accra Hearts of Oak, celebrated its 106th anniversary. We're excited because, of course, Bright and I are very jealous Hearts of Oak fans. Yeah, so we're in good spirit.
Yeah,
and
we
the
trust that the oak tree.
Yeah, we trust
that you can never ever pull down.
Really?
Next year we'll buy.
Can never pull an
You
oak
see,
tree
empty
down.
barrels actually do make
you.
106 years old. The tree is so strong and stronger and stronger.
Never say that.
Yeah. We're moving on in great style. And Charlie, happy birthday to all Phobians, okay?
Exactly.
And be proud that at least you're better than your opponents. They asked for the FA Cup. It was a dash. You know, after having performed badly in the league, we decided to dash them the FA Cup so that they can have something to be proud of. You know, when kids, you don't give them anything for Christmas, they tend to cry. So this one is a Christmas dash.
Did you see us crying? Did we come complaining? Just because you think you gave us, doesn't mean you
But
did.
he didn't cry in public. He would have cried indoors.
Yes.
And you were there with us. How would, I mean, Phobians be with Asante Kotoko knowing that we're crying? Please, deal with your own internal. God has been good to you. You've done well. Take it like that. That's enough.
You know that the porcupine will always seek refuge under the oak tree.
Yes, of course.
Really? No, the porcupine can do well by itself.
All right, good morning, Ghana. A wonderful Monday morning. What more can we do than to be on your screens and help you to start the day on a bright note? It's a new week. We're starting afresh, and we know that your decisions have been made for the week. You have planned the budget. You have done what you need to do to get the week fixed, and we know you're going to stay on course from now till Friday. We'll be here to support you and guide you. Good morning.
Certainly.
Speaking of budget, I mean, the budget comes up this week. We're getting hints of some 25% cuts on our power tariff as well.
That's for
more goodies.
Industries.
Yes.
We're yet to know what.
So if I produce plantain chips, small plantain chips
In your house.
Yeah.
It's not industry. That one is personal
Johnny,
property.
what kind of industry is that?
but that's it. Small,
It's one plantain
small
industry.
scale enterprise, you know.
Certainly, but I mean, it's good to know that the budget is coming up. So definitely, as you plan to make your own budget, it will tie into Ghana's national budget and see how best you can save a few, coins here or there for yourself. But certainly, it's a beautiful week in November. It's 13th November. We've actually come that far. We're just about wrapping up the end. I never thought December will come this fast.
I'm getting scared of Christmas. That's beckoning.
Yep.
You know, what you have to do as a parent, what you have to do as a father. That's what I'm getting scared about when they start bringing you the list.
Christmas gifts and all. But God is faithful. He provides for you.
God has always been faithful. But sometimes the list is so tall that you just sit there and say,
You wish your Father Christmas himself. But
anyway,
the goodies will come.
but over the weekend, I noticed that there's still the phenomenon of people blocking streets and roads for funerals and parties.
It has not stopped.
And I drove around town. I saw it in so many other places. And even in Tema, which didn't used to have that, you still would have those. And I'm wondering, okay, so what's happening? No permit, and yet people will block the roads, obstruct traffic.
You sure they don't have permits?
They don't. I mean, I had a conversation with I mean, this one, I saw one right behind the Kaneshi police station. And so I went to ask the police, and they said, well, they are not aware of anything. I mean,
I see.
And then you know what the guy told me? He says, well, it's one of those things that they do. So
they don't think it's anything at all.
Yeah.
I had a fight one morning. It was a Monday morning. They had done the funeral, I guess, on a Saturday.
Okay.
Sunday, the canopies
were still
were still on the road. Monday morning was there. So a couple of, they were trying to remove the canopy, and vehicles that were on that stretch were also trying to go. So the gentlemen were angry that the people were going to work, and they were trying to use the same, that small section of the road behind the canopy, and so they decided to block it. I had some few guys behind me who were also angry. There were four of us. We got up, and we told them that
your piece
either they remove that canopy or today today be today. And they got scared and actually eventually begged that quickly they pulled the canopy and allowed the vehicles to go.
I don't know why we take the law into our hands.
I don't think the permits allow them to stay there till Monday morning.
Certainly
I mean,
not.
that's
sure
even if
released
they
on the
have
day.
a permit at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm
because
saying.
the permit is for a couple of hours. Not for the full. Even when we're blocking roads for presidents, so I mean, it's for a certain period.
Number of hours.
Yes. So you take Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday morning you still have your stuff there.
You want their comfort to go and sleep at night after Sunday instead of removing the canopy for people who go to work.
When you're going to block someone's road. But the question even for me is, if we're even granting permits, is it right? Should we be blocking streets for any activity whatsoever, such as a funeral? Yes, the roads are already narrow to even start with. So for me, in that area, there must be a park or some public place that can be utilized rather than blocking the road. Because I've seen people who've had parties in residential, even non-residential areas, who have had the decency of, employing the services of, let's say, the police, who will direct traffic, make sure at least there's still some road for other users to use. Because I don't see how your activity should, hamper anyone's other activities. It's wrong. It shouldn't happen.
It boils down, and Senior Bright, it boils down to town and country planning, how we plan. Look, we're planning new communities new communities are springing up, and recreational centers, no, football parks, no, car parks, no, nothing. So we're just building. We're busy building.
Hazardly.
Even the drains and streets. We don't care. We're busy building. We're just selling and building. No demarcations at all. And nobody seems to worry about it until it gets to that level where we get very, very, distraught and disturbed about it. I think that we must all wake up. If you go around the Carnation Enclave like that, there is no sport which is supposed to be for the state or for the assembly or whichever it is, where you can have any of such things. There are school parks, but the school parks are private stuff. Okay? And even those, we have not even made it mandatory for people. We have not made it mandatory for people to get in there and do any of that thing. I think that it's not. Look, if you go into the villages or if you go into the Eastern region, for example, you will find that all the funerals are gathered, and then we'll go to a particular park and we hold the funeral there at that particular location.
Okay.
Anyway, guys, we'll take a break.
Let's take a break at this point. When we return, there will be news.
Certainly.
All of that. This one is just...
wishy-washy.
We are censoring. We'll be back.
Hello and good morning. I am Solace Rose Quarty and this is Morning News on TV3. Into our first story, President Akufo-Addo has charged members of the clergy to help government in the fight against vigilantism. Now, speaking at the Trinity Theological Seminary on Saturday, President Akufo-Addo said, unlike other leaders who looked on for the menace of vigilantism to become a canker, he will do all within his power to solve it.
Christian theological education is of no use if it cannot be translated into a system of moral recovery and practice. I entreat you to speak out against the ills of our nation and join government's fight against them. Corruption, social and economic injustice, crime, the illegal mining menace popularly referred to as galamsey, and the new phenomenon of vigilantism. As I indicated earlier this week, in my meeting with the National House of Chiefs, I will do everything in my power to arrest this new phenomenon. I will repeat here what I told them. I will not walk the path others trod who found it convenient to turn a blind eye to the criminal misdeeds of their followers and took no action as it would displease them. I am walking another path, the path of making reality the principle of the rule of law, the idea of equality of every citizen before the law. Wrongdoers wear no political colors. They are just wrongdoers and will be dealt with as such.
Now, 24 illegal mining sites at Chebe in the East Akim district of the Eastern region cannot be reclaimed immediately due to the high concentrate of mercury in the soil. Now, at a tour of some mining sites in the area, Minister for Lands and Natural Resources John Peter Amewu affirms the sector is considering effective ways to tackle the situation.
The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources in March this year intensified the ban on illegal mining activities. The ministry is also spearheading a project to reclaim all affected lands in the country. At Chebe in the Eastern region, 18 illegal mining zones have been recorded, of which 24 sites in such zones cannot be reclaimed. Pits in such sites have been cordoned off due to the intense presence of mercury deposits in the soil. Sector Minister John Peter Amewu affirms the intensity.
They have done some soil analysis, and there have been some high level of mercury in these areas. Okay. And so you see where there are green flags, the green flags tells us that we can go ahead with those reclamation areas. So here we're going to do a bit of an attempt to see how we can take out some of the mercury.
He indicated the area of land destroyed by the illegal miners amounted to 4% of the total Earth's surface area. He, however, said lands that are due to be reclaimed will cost government about 60,000 Ghana cedis per hectare.
We're going to launch a reclamation fund, of course, and there are a lot of partners that are prepared to support us. We have seen some support already coming from the Australian High Commission, the Chinese embassy, they are on board.
John Peter Amewu also hinted Cabinet has approved the extension period of the ban on small-scale mining.
The ban has been extended. That's a statement we all know. I mean, because this is supposed to end somewhere in October, and nobody is still mining. So the ban has been extended. Of course, everybody should be aware. That is a fact.
Some water bodies, including the Brim River, which were affected by activities of the illegal mining, seemed to be improving. At the launch of the reclamation project, Paramount Chief of the Achim Ebuakwa traditional area, Osajifo Amotia of Feripenyin, said poverty should not be an excuse for recalcitrant individuals to destroy the environment.
The president can any the national security for
In spite of the ban on illegal mining, some recalcitrant persons are still engaged in the activity. We don't want a situation whereby if they are arrested by the police, they will run to the chiefs for help. The chiefs will not shield any illegal miner.
All right, and news just indicates that the Colleges of Education Teachers Association says they are continuing their strike indefinitely as the letter given them by the Finance Ministry fell short of their demands. Now, last week, the association issued a statement saying if the Ministry of Finance fails to pay the outstanding arrears due them by Wednesday, November 1, 2017, all the members will withdraw their services effective Thursday, November 2. The Ministry of Finance responded to their demands, but they say it fell short of their demand. Now, we are joined on the line by Prince Obinghima. He's a national president of CETAG. Good morning, Prince. Good morning, Prince. Can you hear me? Good morning, Prince. Can you hear me? You're tuned in to NewDay on TV3. It's news. Hello, good morning, Prince.
Good morning, Solis.
Yes. Now, can you briefly let us know what was contained in the letter that the Finance Ministry issued to you?
Thank you and good morning to your cherished viewers. And a quick correction to your introduction. I am Prince Obinghima, the National Secretary, not the President.
Okay.
Thank you. The letter we had from the Minister of Finance, in fact, it was duly signed by the Minister himself, Honorable Ken Oforiatta.
Yeah.
and we wish to acknowledge him highly for making an effort to resolve the impasse. I must say that when we met with the ministry on Monday, we were clear that a certain ruling had been given by the National Labour Commission, in which the National Labour Commission directed the ministry to pay the salary arrears to the teachers. Now, making even a shift to our original position, we say that around this time, we don't expect that you'll be able to pay us midstream the month. So why don't you give us a letter containing exact period when you are going to pay the money to us? So we can go home, rest assured that we have something in our hand, and then you pay the money to us this time. It could be any time that you feel you finish with all of these things and then put it on paper. Interestingly, the letter we had talked of some other things they were doing, including trying hard to get the data on the teachers from the controller, following which they will do audits, or audit service will do their part. And by November, and then it's when they will be able to meet with us and schedule payment time, which we think did not capture the spirit of our discussions earlier on. So we met over the weekend. NEC of the association met, and with due consultation with our lawyer, and also taking into consideration the ruling given by the National Labour Commission, the spirit of our discussions we had, and the interest of the members generally, we resolved to carry on with the strike action to such a time that we are giving clear and explicit dates telling us when the money will be paid.
Now, you're saying that you're going to, continue with the strike indefinitely. Now, unfortunately, this will affect academic work. How does the association feel about doing this?
It's not an exciting situation for all of us. We all feel hurt. We are all saddened by the situation. Unfortunately, we are where we are because one party has not come clear regarding directives that have been given by a commission of competent jurisdiction. That's why we are where we are today.
Now, Prince, you're saying that one party has not come clear. Are you ready to go back to the ministry for further talks?
Why not? We believe in Jojo. That is why even in our strike, when they invited us last Monday, we went. And look at the steadfastness that we had to organize this NEC meeting on Sunday. Some of my members coming from Navrongo, Takrade, Akachi, Abetifi, Atebubu, and all of that converging in Kumasi. That shows the steadfastness. On Sunday, when we were supposed to be worshiping and then saving our souls. So if the ministry comes clear with a letter today that do this A, B, C, and D, and I'll pay the money to you at this time, we will either meet with them or we'll call off the strike action and go back to our dear students.
All right, thank you very much, Prince. I was speaking with Prince Obinghima. He is the National Secretary of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association. Now let's move on and do some other stories. And the Solidarity and Development Cooperation Organization of Finnish Trade Union is supporting women in the Obuasi mine to get employable skills. The €90,000 project has so far helped to train more women so they could support their husbands with the shutting down of the Obuasi mine.
Residents of Obuasi say the shutdown of the AngloGold Ashanti Obuasi mines has worsened the economic woes in the area. Solidarity and Development Cooperation Organization at Finnish Trade Union has therefore supported wives of the miners and others with skills training. The training included entrepreneurial skills, financial and organizational management, communication skills, beads and soap making, decorations, and grass cutter rearing. The Miners' Wives Association is the women affiliate of the Ghana Mine Workers Union, which currently has more than 800 members in Obuasi alone. Secretary of the association, Doris Apia-Kubi, advised members to make good use of the training.
And women's self-esteem were low. So we decided that we will embark on this project so that it will equip the woman to be economically empowered.
Leader of the Finnish group, Mary Brice, assured the women of more support.
In Obuasi, the success was so good already in the first year that the ladies in Tarkwa got enthusiastic about it, and so we expanded the project to Tarkwa starting in 2015.
All right, now to the educational sector, and pupils of the Ajijimakunu NewDay Primary School of the Kintampo South have their kindergarten 1 and 2 pupils sit and learn on the bare floor. The entire lower primary school of Ajijimakunu also study under trees. This is a report by Johnson Kofi Techi.
The school, which was established in 1974, has an enrollment of 288 pupils and 7 teaching staff. The challenges of the school are enormous, with infrastructure being key amongst them. Pupils are compelled to sit and learn under trees due to limited infrastructure. Classes are held under this makeshift structure as pupils sit on the bare floor and ride. The classroom itself is also ridden with potholes and it's dusty as well. To compound their problems, textbooks are yet to be supplied to kindergarten pupils, though they are edging close to the end of the first term of the academic year. This is not peculiar to only the kindergarten. In primary 2, 4 pupils are compelled to sit on a dual desk meant for only 2 pupils because of lack of furniture. Teachers also struggle for a space to mark their exercises under this tree after traveling about 12 kilometers to school daily. The assistant head teacher of the school, Eric Abangna, said they are overwhelmed by the situation. He lamented the absence of the school feeding program was a disincentive as pupils failed to return after going home for their lunch.
Right. Now, the UN estimates that there are about 150 million street children in the world, with the majority of them not attending school. Now, in Ghana, it is estimated that over 50,000 of these children are living on the streets of Accra.
Ghana is under the peril of surging numbers of street children, with more children flooding the cities due to poverty and irresponsible parenting. Many of these children are engaged in begging for money, a worry for people in authority. Currently, the United Nations estimates that there are about 150 million street children in the world, with majority of them not attending school. In Ghana alone, it is estimated that over 50,000 of these children are living on the streets of Accra. As part of efforts to rid the city of children, a group calling itself Campaign Africa are championing the end to streetism. They argued about 80% of the children who beg on the streets are lured into the business by foreigners, urging Ghanaians to desist from giving them money as it remains a source of motivation.
Stop giving child beggars money. Let's stop it now. You see, we are encouraging them. The money don't go to the children, it goes to the begging masters. So stop giving these children money. They are giving them back to the begging masters. Very important. Let's stop giving them money now.
Now, away from that, President Akufo-Addo says government will review electricity tariffs. Now, he was speaking at the 6th Association of Ghana Industries, Ghana Industry and Quality Awards held in Accra.
President Akufo-Addo said there has been a relative stability of the power situation in the country.
In working systematically to accentuate the decline in interest rates by strengthening the macroeconomy, government is also designing innovative, structured solutions to remove one of the main constraints to rapid industrial growth.
He said 192 business plans for the One District, One Factory initiative have been approved for takeoff.
If the requisite investments to undertake these new industrial initiatives can be secured, the development of the economy and its capacity to generate jobs will be dramatically enhanced. We're going to do our maximum to secure these investments.
He also hinted of the establishment of an integrated bauxite and aluminium development authority, as well as iron and steel development authority.
And now for the weather updates for the next few hours.
The report is brought to you by
All right, and that's how we wrap up morning news here on TV3. I am Solace Rose Quarter. It's now time for news headlines with your usual suspects, Johnny, Bright, and Anama. Over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Solace. I like the way your cue card and your dress.
Yeah.
No, the shades are almost the same. It's so lovely. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
We call it weekend return. It reflects what you did over the weekend.
Yeah.
So when you go into Monday, whatever you wear reflects what happened over the weekend.
Right. You see, if we add blue and red to it, that would be phobia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Really? You are in a very phobia
and the gold color, the yellow is,
it's sunshine.
Don't bring yourself,
Amma has
please.
blue
Don't
and
even
red,
go in
so
that direction.
if you add
Before
it,
people start saying, it means MPP, I beg you. I'm wearing neutral colors this morning. Anyway, guys, let's start with the finder. It says, ECG tariffs to go down. President Akufo-Addo hints. Also, Fieldstone and PwC lead sale of $2 billion thermal assets. Also, punish all culpable officials in atomic explosion. And then finally, the First Lady has been installed as development queen of Great Ningo. Nice one there.
Okay. Interesting. So that makes a second. First, the president was installed as Ni Kwaku Okujiaman the first. Supposed to be championing sanitation issues, and then now the First Lady has been made development. So it's all in the Greater Accra region. I'm yet to see a plan how they intend to do this, because 1 year is already gone, and very little was said about it when the president took a tour of the Greater Accra region. I still am not seeing how the AMA, Ladma, Lekma, and Lankwantana, all of them are coming together, East, South, whichever it is, to make sure that we're clean. And so
the Times has something. I don't know if
is there what?
Take a look at page 2 of the Ghanaian Times. You will see there's a national launch of sanitation campaign.
See,
it's an advert.
It's an advert.
So
and it's happening today.
Yes, it's today. So maybe that's where it's starting from.
Or it's a launch.
Yes, a launch of the national.
Play your part. Let's clean Ghana.
Campaign.
And it's at the banquet hall. It's at 11 a.m. Everybody is.
We're launching the sanitation campaign at the banquet hall.
Yes.
Okay.
Why you want us to do that there?
About what is the essence? Why would you launch a sanitation
I
campaign?
want to show you pictures. I don't know if you can even see these.
Pictures. Take the people to where the filth is and launch the thing
today
there.
We are launching it, so if we take the people there, there'll be no one to catch.
The GIJ students, I think level 200 or so, they did something. They call it Clean Go, and their hashtag is Clean the Distant. Yes, and they went, I think they went to a dinner or something over the weekend to help the students. They'll come to Bukom and the rest. So they are not launching it in an air-conditioned space with people wearing tie, drinking coffee and speaking big English. Take the big people, the AMA, Director of Health, blah, blah, blah. Take them to the dirty place and mount a canopy there and launch the thing there. So then they know that this is it. If you show them pictures, they are detached from it. I don't support launching this thing.
Center of the filth, so
yes.
No,
I've always made a case about Carnation Market. Now, when you call the AMA will tell you Carnation Market is not under them. It is under Accra Markets. But then, within that same area, there's an Ogo Road office, that AMA has sanitary. Yes, they have a sub-metro. They have all the people there. Within Kaneshi, Bubuashi, Ogo Road and all of that, they don't have a sanitary site where people can bring their refuse and go and dump there. So the people are forced to bring it all the way to the Carnation Market and add to what the market women do. Then they will tell you that, they do house-to-house collection. Bright lives around the enclave. I do. Sometimes you put your refuse in front of your gate. It takes a full week, sometimes 2 weeks before they come for it. So sometimes you are forced to give it to the itinerant, those boys riding the tricycle, to take it away. I asked this question of the AMA, and then they were found wanting.
Johnny, even some burn, and burning is not even allowed in Ghana.
Exactly.
Supposedly. But I mean, when you've had your rubbish sitting in front of your house for 2 weeks, and you don't even have itinerant people picking it up, the best option for you then is to burn. And they smell it. AMA knows people burn. What are they doing about it? But again, the big question is, where do we put our refuse? Because supposing even these itinerant people pick it up, or even AMA, there's a collector. We don't have the dumping site. We don't have the final composting site. Until we get to, demarcate a place for this, we'll still have these challenges. Because at the end of the day, Accra, I remember when we were doing the cleanup in around the Makola area, you get the big trucks picking them up, and they'll go and dump this in a place which is, it becomes another, source of filth. If you don't get the right place to dump it, we'll keep coming back and forth with these issues because we've collected it, yes. But wherever we finally deposit it, if it's not structured well, it's not engineered well, we're back
Singapore is importing bola.
Certainly.
Okay, they are importing our bola to go and do something. Recycling,
getting energy,
exactly, energy, plastics, and everything else. And we are here. We are complaining. We have too much bola.
Let's see.
We don't even know what to do with it. And
let's just
to cap it, we are launching. No, right. But nobody.
I don't want to talk about it because I've seen these launches over and over and over again. Nothing had worked, so I really don't know what.
But the launch
but they're
at
coming
the
with
banquet
change,
hall.
so we do hope there's a new way out, isn't there?
At the banquet hall, we're launching
Johnny,
a bola
campaign. It's already been set. We can't change. It's too late. Next time,
I'm
we
not saying.
advise them.
I'm just saying that. Why would you like to launch a bola thing at the banquet hall? Why? Take the people to Makola, take them to Aguglushi, Malamata, take them to where the filth is, Malam Market, Kaneshi. Let them see that this is it. This is what we're talking about. Then they can fix it.
Anyway. The last time we had, the AMA had given out some phone
WhatsApp numbers, right?
Yes. That if you found anyone dumping refuse or anything, you can call. Well, I don't know if it is part of the project we are launching. But Johnny, I said we should just wait and see what happens. I think that yes, this is a national sanitation campaign. The last campaign we had, I don't know if a proper auditing has been done, why it didn't work. And that is why we are launching a new one. Okay? There was a national sanitation day.
The first Saturday of the month.
I don't know why it failed. I am yet to know. Maybe the auditing has been done.
Apathy was a big issue.
Well, I want to see a proper auditing done, why it failed, and that is why we are launching another one, and why this one will not fail. Okay, when we know that, then we can go ahead. But I'm not enthused about these launches at all. They don't.
I Senior Bright, we have a ministry, a whole ministry created for water and sanitation. And a very big good morning to you, Mr. Kofi Ada. We have not heard from you, and I'm wondering what exactly is happening ever since
11 months on into.
Yes, because the point is, I like what the president did when he announced his ministers. He would give you a profile of who he is announcing, and he will tell you why the person has been chosen to do this, what he's bringing to the table, and what they expect from him while he's minister and up to the time. And what we heard the president talk about, especially from Mr. Kofi Ada, water and sanitation, we have not heard about it. What we heard him talk about, Zongo development, Abubakar Sadiq, we have not seen anything. So then you are wondering whether the 6 new ministerial positions that were created, business development, reorganization of the regions and all of that, whether all those portfolios were necessary at all in the first place. Because they are being paid with the taxpayers' money.
Johnny, we'll wait and see. Let's move on.
We'll wait and see. But Ghanaian Times also says electricity tariffs to reduce. Well, he's asking a question. Will that be in the 2018 budget statement? Also, 2018 budget to focus on job creation. That's coming from the president. Then government extends ban on small-scale mining to January 2018. The president lauds entrepreneurs as Ghana celebrates Global Entrepreneurial Week. And then finally, president praises Jospon others for waste management in Accra.
The ban on small-scale mining, I think that we need to take a second look at it. Because
the extension of the ban?
Yes, because as the minister himself said, there are people who are still mining. And we heard from the Ochihene's speech as well. There are people who are still mining in spite of the ban. So if you have banned and there are people who are still mining, and you want to hold on the people who have obeyed you, and still because of these few recalcitrant ones. Mind you, we started with an ultimatum. It went dead. Then we brought another ultimatum. And then we brought in Operation Vanguard. All of these things have a financial component to it, because while the 400 troops are in the bush, they will be fed, they will be clothed, and all of that. Fuel that they will use for the cars. If they are using drones, drone battery, they will charge it. So it comes with a big cost component. How long are we going to sustain it? And how much does it cost the ordinary taxpayer, whose fault it isn't that this happened in the first place? Mind that we had people who are being paid one more time to supervise these things so that it doesn't even happen. So that now that we have gotten there and we are still pumping money into it, what happens to it? Those who we have been told have been arrested, we have reclaimed this land, that land. What has happened to them? Are we prosecuting them? Are we punishing them? Are we making them pay for their evil? Or we're just interested in, let's block it? Because the small-scale mining sector employs a lot of people. And up until this time when the ban is on, those people who are not going to work, how do they feed? How do they take care of their families? So there are people who are doing legitimate business. And because of them and their recalcitrant ones, you put a freeze on everybody. It is not fair.
And that's why I
agree when you say we should look at
this again.
Yes,
because then the people who are actually law-abiding now, when you've placed the ban, but I see the illegal people continue doing what they're doing. What is going to inform me is go back. Try and find a decent place where you won't be caught and do your thing and underground. And in that case, you make that person become illegal because they're going against the ban. So as much as possible, extending it does not really solve the problem for us. The problem is the fact that we think there are some people who are doing illegal small-scale mining, which is degrading our environment. What are we doing to them? How are we, punishing them for what they're doing? Let's deal with that and move on. Because before January 2018, we may decide to extend again to whenever.
After January 2018.
And I mean, does that really solve the issue? But so they should look at it critically.
If government had not finished what it says it wants to do, clean up the mess and put in proper strategy so that people can go back into mining, should we allow people to go back? For me, that's a question we should be asking. That if government says it wanted to clean up the mess in the sector and regularize what people do so that they don't endanger our water bodies. If government has not finished that, should we allow people to go back?
But Bright, the question to answer you, government did give its own timelines. The people didn't instruct government how to go about it. Let's say you told me in 5 months I'll finish building your house. In 5 months I expect you to be done. If there are certain challenges for me, what I think you should do, the onus lies on you then to fix those challenges as quickly as possible rather than to give me a long time. What do I do in that case? Supposing you moved me out of my house, I'm renting a hotel. I tell the hotel man, let me pay for 6 months because Bright says he'll be done.
In
6 months comes, I don't have the money to pay. You put me in a deadlock.
Because the point is that what is government doing?
Exactly.
The last time we saw the Kumasi guys complaining.
So what is government doing? You've said that let's put a hold on this. But in the meantime, what are you doing?
Is being done?
Yes, the roadmap, and as I stand here, we don't even as media, we don't know what the roadmap is. Okay, so because we are counting the ultimatum, then they come and tell us, oh, the ultimatum is done, but we've brought another one. But we don't know what the roadmap is.
So the Vanguard guys are out there, and I think the Vanguard guys are the final stage before the implementation of whatever program government has to fix the sector. So maybe we should hold on and see what happens after January 18th.
Right.
The Vanguard guys are there.
Right.
They are stopping people from, and we know that there was a phase of advocacy, a phase for the Vanguard guys who are there now. And then I think the final phase is to see the implementation of the program government has. So maybe we should hold on and see.
What has been the effect of the Vanguard task force as it stands for you?
Well, I mean,
as you sit here. What do you know about it?
Well, the last time I checked, about over 1,000 illegal mining equipment had been seized. Some about 1,000 people had been arrested. I don't know where they are.
I know that they are making inroads. But you see, I still will maintain my old position that intelligence gathering in security is very paramount. We don't lack the people. National security, we have the BNI, we have the CID, we have the CDS, we have the Minister for Defense, we have the Minister for Interior, we have all of them. Now, are you saying, and I will go back to my old point, if you and I, the BNI wants to pick us up, they will find us even if we hid in a hole. I dare them that the people who do the illegal mining, they know. And we have been told that these illegal miners, some of them bring monies from the pit to sponsor political activities on both ends, both NDC and MP. Okay. They sponsor it. So it is not as if they don't know who the people are. They do know. They should go and chase them and stop putting a block on everybody else. People are doing legitimate business. In the meantime, you go through a very rigorous process to get license to go and mine. Certainly. Why then do we have to go through this? Come on. Please. Okay. Anyway. Good morning to you, Mr. Lance Minister. Good morning to you, Mr. Interior Minister. Good morning to you, Defense Minister. Good morning to you, National Security Minister. Please, we need answers. We need a clear roadmap. We need timelines to do this. We can't put a block on it forever. Employees are at home. They are not working. We need to look at this. Okay. Happy birthday to you, Madam Juliana Ichampo.
That's
yes. Happy birthday at STC. And to you, Brigadier General IB Quarty and your wife. Good morning to you. We love you.
All.
We love you.
That's all we can do. We can only ask duty bearers to.
Coco, good morning to you as well.
But it's time for a rant. We're talking about the NDC. All right. There's been some division. Well, the question is there unity or is there division? Because some 10 regional chairmen, as they are now, have or seemingly have endorsed ex-President John Mahama, and that seems to have brought confusion into the party. But let's hear what ranters had to say for this morning with George Quainan.
Today on Daily Rant, we delve into the camp of the NDC, and the latest is that all 10 regional chairmen of the party have endorsed former President John Dramani Mahama to lead the party in the 2020 elections. And so, what happens to the other contenders? Because 5 people have declared their intentions to contest. And here's a party that is reorganizing itself following the 2016 election defeat. Is this the way to go? This is Daily Rant. Let's keep talking.
Yeah, I feel it's bringing this unity. Because the party is now trying to bring members on board. They say they are organizing unity work and stuff. And then all of a sudden, a group of people, figureheads, just get up and say they support one particular person. When we have other candidates, it is going to disorganize the party rather than bringing us together.
Bringing us means you are NDC?
Oh, we are all humans. So bringing us together, as in the Ghanaian citizenry, that is, not because I'm NDC or anything.
You go around, you.
Well, to me, Mama has done something better for Ghana. And Ghana has realized what he has done, has seen what he has done. So if a different person also is coming to say he can do more than what Mama has done, I don't believe. And then if you have got a term which he can perform, he should come back and perform. Yeah.
But is it not bringing disunity in the party?
Well, it seems like bringing this unity. But those coming, I can say, are greedy. Because they have also seen what Mama has done. And we Ghanaians want development of Ghana. And to me, I've never seen any leader who has taken the 10 regions at a go developing it, except Mahama. So I feel he should continue.
He's been tried and tested. Can't you bring another person?
No one is coming to be tested. He should continue and finish his job.
My point is, we are in a democratic state. Everybody has the will to run for or contest for this presidency. And then we have about 5 candidates who say they are contesting. Why don't we give them the go-ahead, let them go with their campaigns and everything? And then it happens the regional chairman who are supposed to take care of these elections and stuff, Congress, are all of a sudden endorsing one particular candidate who has not even said he wants to run or he doesn't want to run. In a way, they are telling the other candidates you are not wanted in the NDC. And then soon they will also take their fractions off. And then it will become despair. So I think the NDC is going in the wrong direction. Adekoka is saying that they are trying to, it's because people are calling for John Mahama. That is why they are telling John Mahama he should come and run. But if you are forcing somebody to come and run, it means you are not telling the person when you come, we will vote for you. You are making your votes public. And that one is very bad for the NDC in general.
But is Mahama ready? Okay, I know during the unity talk in Cape Coast, he said it's premature for him to declare his intentions. So it means all these regional chairmen don't respect his views. Clearly.
Oh, okay, but I think it should come and continue what he's doing. Because it has started already, so you have to finish with it. That is why they wanted him to come again.
Yeah. From what Adekoga is saying, it is not whether Mahama wants to come or not. They are trying to tell Mahama.
It's a matter of urgency.
It's a matter of urgency. The people want you, Mahama, to come. So we, the 10 regional chairmen, are endorsing you to come and run for the elections. That is what Adekoka is trying to explain to us. But like at the long run, people will also say, someone like Sylvester Mensah, Joshua Alabi, they'll say, why is that you are not coming to endorse us? We should come and run for the elections. But all of a sudden, this particular person, you all want the person to come. It makes it look like you people have made up your mind already. And then it's going to be really, really some way for the NDC. It's going to be some way for the NDC. It will bring fractions. People are going to be reserved. They'll say, well, let's watch what they will see. They will do, and then it will happen to disorganize the party.
See, all these 10 regional chairmen have endorsed him. So how are the other contenders, the 5 others, how are they going to be received when they go to their regions? For instance, let's say Alabi, for instance, Joshua Alabi goes to Greater Accra region. How is it going to be received? And then it translates in the other regions.
This is what I'm saying. They should relax. Because most of Ghanaians are talking about Maham. So you are going to waste your time. That's how I see things.
It's not about wasting your time. Maybe they are trying to brand themselves for future elections. Maybe they want to market themselves for another election. Maybe in 2024 or something they will run. It's not for this 2020 elections. So they should go ahead. But my problem is when the figureheads have already decided one particular person to go, how would other people see it? How would the other contestants, even their followers, also see it?
According to former NewDay MP George Lowe, he says amongst all the contenders, Mahama stands tall. But it doesn't mean it will translate into victory at the primaries.
Just about some few weeks ago, we all saw Bukom Banku standing tall. But Basti brought him down. So it's not a matter of politics, is like that. Some time ago, 10 months ago, we were all saying Joe Mama was standing tall. We saw the rally at Accra Sports Stadium. We say, Joe Mama will win this thing. And then all of a sudden, everything happens. So we shouldn't say somebody is standing tall or anything. So just like he's saying, it is true. Anything can happen. So let's give everybody a fair play field. Everybody should go contest. Void of figureheads, they should all go back. Allow them to organize their party. Let us go as one accord. And then find our leader who will lead the party in 2020.
And clearly, I can see you're on the side of Mahama. But does it mean when you guys go to primaries, he's going to win?
Oh, of course he will win.
What makes you think he's going?
Because he has done a lot. People have seen it.
Like, I just want you to, because this interview, you're just saying he's done a lot. Like, what has he done?
A president taking all the regions. Do what I mean. Taking all the regions, developing it in his style. I have not seen.
Did you watch the final rally at Sports Stadium?
Somehow.
It didn't translate into his victory at all.
Of course.
So it means that, yes, you might, vouch for him, but it doesn't mean that maybe when you guys go to primaries, he'll win. Doesn't mean. That's according to George Lowe.
Well, if NDC members will see the development he has done, I'm sure they will vote for him in the primaries.
It's not about NDC alone. It's like we are all in the country, and we some of us have seen what he has done. So I think we should just give him the role to come and play again. That is all.
Okay, this is a party that is reorganizing itself. After a defeat 2016, and for me, I think they should really concentrate on reorganization before, let's say, at the endorsement.
Talking about endorsements, talking about people who are running for the party, we should try to bring the party together. This unity work and stuff, those things will rather bring the party together. But when we start with political figures and stuff, we are just going to disorganize everything. The work at Cape Coast was massive. It tells you people are really willing to come on board. But like then all of a sudden you bring John Mama thank you tour. We are endorsing John Mama. It's like you are telling the members of the NDC that without John Mama there's no NDC. But we shouldn't make John Mama bigger than the NDC. The NDC should be bigger than John Mama. Yes, that is what
I think the reorganization should be prioritized more than the
leadership. Yeah. So I truly believe what my Brazilian brother is saying.
Yeah, I think the NDC people need to come to the grassroots to come and reorganize the people very well before they go in for the presidential candidate stuff.
Yeah, changes to do. They have a lot of changes, a whole lot of changes. It's like money goes to the wrong people. They don't disperse the money. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about the Kwesi Butchie report.
They're just rumors, yeah.
Just rumors or anything. But like if what we are hearing is anything to go by, then the NDC have to shuffle their executives. They have to do a rebranding, rebuilding of the party itself, over a total overhauling of this whole system, because it's really, really It's really, really bad. If they really want to have power in 2020 or any other elections in the country, they have to really step up and then do something about their organizational structure itself.
Okay, yeah, I don't know, but do you think maybe these regional chairmen, are saying this because they fear if any other, flag bearer is chosen for the party, they might lose again?
I feel that is what they feel, but the 2020 elections itself is going to be a very, very difficult election. There's going to be one very difficult election for the NDC because the MPP has power. The MPP has power.
But they had power when in 2016?
And the MPP was able to take power from the NDC with all their machinery. When even the Ghanaians thought, most Ghanaians thought John Mahama had won. Now they are in power. When they were not in power, they were able to take power. Now they have the power. They know how opposition feels like. You think they're just going to sit there like that?
Okay. The thing is, if you go on social media, for instance, most people have, endorsed what the regional chairmen are calling out for. And then there are some cross-section people who think it's needless. I don't know what will make them think he's not the right man.
In every political party, there are kingmakers. They are kingmakers. And then you will be shocked, these kingmakers have their favorites. There are some kingmakers who are in favor of Joshua Alabi, kingmakers who are in favor of Pio Gabra. Now, these kingmakers are the long run are the bankrollers of the party. So when you are having this discussion, we at the grassroots, the people at the grassroots, ours is just to work in, go and vote for anybody who is placed there. It is at the top that there will be disunity. And then when there's disunity at the top, that is where the problem is created. That is where you hear that at the Adekotopon, polling agents or party officials were paid, say, 200 Ghana, and then somewhere they were paid 100 Ghana. There's confusion there. There's sabotage there. So it is a general problem. They should look at the kingmakers first. Let's settle it. Let's organize ourselves from the top. Then it will flow to the grassroots.
Well, these are the thoughts coming from the public regarding the endorsement by all the 10 regional chairmen of NDC for former President John Dramani Mahama to lead the party in the 2020 elections. Let us know what you think about this. You can just log on to our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's News on TV3, and on Twitter, it's News TV3. We came to you from Labadi here at Accra. Thanks for watching.
The big one on the Finder this morning, about 4 or 5 newspapers carrying the same story. The Daily Graphic, speak out against societal ills. President tells the church, and ban on small-scale mining extended by 3 months. The Heritage says sanitation key in any city, says Akufo-Addo as he tours Accra compost and recycling plant. The Statesman, John Mahama and Mary connection exposed. And Akufo-Addo celebrates entrepreneurs. And the Today newspaper says private universities face collapse. That's according to Professor Nsuwa Nwamba. Those are some of the papers I have with me here. The Ghanaian Times also talks about the tariffs to go down. 2018 budget statement, electricity tariffs to reduce. That's a huge question the Times is asking this morning. My guest to do the talking, Member of Parliament for the Secondary Constituency, a member of the NPP, Honorable Andrew Ejapa Mesa. Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you're doing great.
I'm very, very well. Yourself?
I'm good too.
Good, of course. Good morning to my senior.
Your senior here, yes. Nia Dekoka is the Greater Accra Regional Chair of the NDC. Good morning to you. Have met your junior here.
Yeah, very, very.
I mean, you have the disco family, I guess.
I have to sanction him, coming to. He knows I should be homeowing him so many years back.
I'm sure by the time he leaves there, his guy will be gone.
I tell you.
All right. Let's start with the electricity this morning. I have about 5 newspapers from the Finder to the Statesman to the Today newspaper. Almost everyone is talking about it. But let's take a look at what's in the Finder. The story says that Ghanaians should expect a major announcement on the reduction of electricity tariffs when the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, presents a 2018 budget on the floor of Parliament on Wednesday. The President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, gave the hint when he addressed captains of industry at the 6th Association of Ghana Industries Quality Awards night last Saturday. Government is moving to set in motion the process for the review of tariffs, and in the budget to be read by the Minister of Finance on Wednesday, November 15. I'm sure you will hear some good news in this regard. That's the president talking there. The Minister of Energy, Mr. Boakye Jackson, had also earlier hinted that the various deals reached by government for the supply of gas to power the country's thermal plants should translate into a reduction of tariffs. At the conclusion of the arrangement, it is our faithful expectation that gas as a feedstock instead of crude oil would be cheaper in terms of power production. This could mean that once the cost of producing electricity comes down, we will be in a further position to lower the user tariffs that our citizens pay for electricity. The minister noted in an earlier statement. So the tariffs, we've been hinted about it going down. Honorable Ejapamesa, let me start with you. So this is something consumers, industry are waiting for. The vice president was said to be talking about 25% reduction. How should we expect this?
Well, let me just say good morning to our cherished viewers, particularly those in my constituency, Second D. Of course, if the vice president, who is the head of the economic management team, gives a clear indication as to the level of reduction that is going to happen, of course, clearly, I do not have any cause to doubt him at all.
We should bank our hope on that.
Absolutely. And I know. And of course, this is not coming as a surprise to me at all. Because the NPP government clearly indicated its dissatisfaction with the levels of prices that we pay for electricity in this country. You recall it was a major campaign issue run up to the 2016 general election. Of course, I've heard people argue that the government essentially has reneged on its promise to reduce the level of tariffs when it came into government. But I'm quick to point out to them that the government has a 4-year mandate. And in managing the economy, you evaluate what it is that you inherited and prudently roll out your policies in a manner that would have minimal impact on the economy and of course also grant reliefs to the Ghanaian populace. And so it is the expectation of every Ghanaian that government would manage this country prudently. And so, yes, promises are made in a manifesto, which in any event is a 4-year document. And it is the expectation of the people who entrust you with the responsibility of governing to be prudent and rational. And so that, because there are consequences for every decision. And so if the government came and, of course, all the impactful policies that it's implemented, okay, free SHS, restoration of nursing training allowances, reduction in some level of taxes, you did not expect that all the reliefs would come in 1 year. So I'm not surprised at all. And you recall we've had this discussion here before, and I indicated clearly that from where I sit, I know that in the 2018 budget, additional reliefs would be made available to the people of Ghana, just so that the productive economy that this government wants to roll out. We've all heard His Excellency the President clearly indicate that we cannot continue to be a Goggisberg economy where our resources are exported in its raw state without any value addition. It's important that we move into gear 2 of industrialization, where we process some of our resources that His Almighty God Himself has bestowed on this country, just so that we can get more value. And we know the effect of energy in our industrialization setup. And so it's important that, having evaluated the economy, sought to stabilize some of the issues that we met in year 1 of our government, we can shift into another gear, provide additional incentives. I know that there's been a complete review of the entire energy value chain, and some savings, significant ones, are going to be made in there. That would bring the cost of electricity down, as the Vice President stated. And so it's happy days for Ghana. I'm very excited about the budget that is coming. We'll all see what it is that the details contain. And I'm sure that it will spare the growth that we all so much desire, so that the jobs that are so very much needed by all of us. You know, I've always said that, of course, now I'm in active public service, but I have a license from the Speaker to practice law privately as well. And so if the economy grows, the better for everybody. Accountants get business, lawyers get business, people get jobs, and it will be good for Ghana. And so I'm very, very excited about what the 2018 budget promises to deliver.
Right, I'm grateful. Nia Dekuka, so one of the key promises of the MPP was to reduce tariffs, and if the 2018 budget sees this reduction, we should be talking about the government beginning to fulfill some of its promises.
But let me say good morning to you and my colleague here and the viewers out there. I'll wait to see the reduction. You know, you can say reduction. It can be 1%, 2%, 3%, 5%, and it's still a reduction. We don't want to have a situation where it is because of the pressure on government to fulfill its manifesto promises. So he's being rushed into reducing things. Like my brother said, free SHS, and we are all seeing the consequences of the free SHS. The president himself has come to say that there are a lot of challenges that did not anticipated, so they are working on it. Free, what do you call it, nurses allowance. Well, in an economy where your revenue, right, seems to know the targets are not being able to be reached. And if you reduce this one, you don't forget that it's going to be another reduction in your revenue. Secondly, the ECG and VRA, they've got some debts that they have to pay. Huge outstanding debts. And part of the tariffs is to enable them to pay off the debts. So we want to see the level of reduction, you see. Politicians, when we come in, we are quick to, like he said, it's a 4-year mandate that they've given them. And probably they want to roll out the 4-year mandate within 12 months. Because January 1st, January 7th will be 1 year. So within that 1 year, all the promises that they made, they want to be seen to have rolled them out. So we want to see, because there are a lot of consequences when you do all this. There's a multiplier effect, there's a backlash. Now, when you do this, you want the fuel. We are also asking, I'm sure everybody will want, a year today, fuel was being sold at 14 cedis per litre. Now it's 20
per gallon.
Per gallon, sorry. And now it's 20 cedis per gallon, right? So are we also going to reduce the fuel? Because we want that one to be looked at. So when they are reducing the tariffs, they shouldn't forget that the fuel too must be looked at, because the taxi drivers and all are on the verge of wanting to go on strike, but the police are hindering them. So it's good news, but like everybody, we want to see what is in it before we can really. ECG tries to go down by how much? Say 25%.
That's the vice president.
That'll be very huge. I mean, all of us will be laughing to the bank because we'll be making a lot of savings. But are you sure it's going to be 25%? Let's wait and see. We let the budget. It's only 3 days since the budget will come. I mean, these are things that people are really going to look at it. Once you make this statement, then make sure that you do, because there's going to be street proof. This particular thing will be street. People are really going to look at the line and the percentage. If it's going to be just some 1 or 2 percentage points, how are you going to go about it? How effective is it going to be? Because in one of their mantra. They said rents was even higher than electricity was even higher than rents. So is it going to be vice versa? Electricity are going to be cheaper than rent? We want to see. All that we have to do is wait and see. It's good to make nice promises. It's good to have headlines. But then at the end of the day, what is in the pudding? What is in the pudding is what is necessary. So let's wait till Wednesday, and we can now come back and look at the figures. And if they've done a good job, we are going to applaud them. But if it's just something to give the impression that I am satisfying manifesto promises, which at the end of the day gives us a lot of backlash, a lot of problems. When you go to our school at the Saddle now, there's huge problem, a huge problem that I'm told that some of the Elliot House where where my house used to be, I'm told that when you go there, the students are really cramped in the dormitory because there's no space. But because of the free SHS, a lot of intake has taken place. But how they are sleeping, the facilities are not there. So these are the kind of things that we must be very careful. They are noble ideas, but then when you don't because of political expediency, right? We do these things, and then at the end of the day, it comes to haunt us.
I'm grateful. Honorable Ejapamesa, let me quickly chip in this. The Energy Minister is said to have said in the story that on the faithful expectation that gas as a feedstock instead of crude oil will be cheaper in terms of power production. This could mean that once the cost of producing electricity comes down, we'll be in a further position to lower the tariffs. We have gone into certain arrangement to have gas with Equatorial Guinea and even our own system here, the Aboaze plant, where we're trying to get the gas to Tema in a reverse kind of thing. Mr. Adekoka seemed to be cautioning that we should be careful not to slash the tariffs, but to ensure that indeed these gas is in there so that cost of production is cheaper before we talk about this. Is there a caution that should be well taken?
Well, of course, if it's not laced with politics, but a well-intended caution, I believe that the policymakers will take it on. But like I said earlier, I am aware that there's been a complete review of the entire value chain, right from gas all the way up to the end user chain, and clearly there are ways that some
cutting
savings
down the cost
absolutely can be made.
We're still using crude. A lot of it is from crude. We know
yes,
thermal produces of 50% of electricity now.
You see, if I have some information that I think may not be appropriate to put out, but you see, there's unfortunately the E&I gas that is coming is relatively much more expensive than what we're getting from Jubilee because of the arrangement that government of Mr. Mahama through the GMPC got from E&I. I mean, it's the most expensive gas in the whole world at the time. Thankfully, E&I, realizing that they themselves probably was charging Ghana way in excess of what was competitive, have given indication of reducing it to about 6.25 cents or so. But there's a lot of activity that is going on in the gas space that is expected to, as it were, power the energy needs of our country. Look, you recall that His Excellency the Vice President has consistently said that it is not for want of generation capacity. It's always been about finance. Okay. Now we've had to keep car power because the agreement that we signed with E&I, for instance, is a take or pay. We don't take the gas, we still pay for it. And so necessarily we have to retain car power. And the tariffs from car power is relatively higher than from the other IPPs that are around. We are saddled with Ameri, which is generating power at a relatively higher tariff than most of the IPPs around. So it is not entirely easy to, as it were, reduce the tariffs significantly as we would all have wished. But like I said, some work has gone into a complete review of the value chain, and the Vice President is put it out there that a 25% maximum reduction is going to be seen. As to whether it's going to go into industry or domestic consumption, we're yet to know. But I'm sure that
the Vice President 25% is for industry.
Yeah, of course. I'm sure that some relief will go to the domestic consumers as well, because if you look at the comparative rates that is paid by the industry, which is about 38 cents per kilowatt hour, whilst domestic pay is about 17 to 19. It's important that some reduction goes in there so that the jobs that we all need and we have been talking about.
Right, I'm grateful, Sachi. Right, let's quickly move on, but let's start in this one. The President is again saying that the 2018 budget statement and economic policy of government which will be delivered in Parliament, will focus mainly on job creation. Addressing the number of chiefs and people of Gamashi and Osu at Manche, Agbona in Accra last Friday, the President said the budget would highlight government's industrialization agenda and create jobs for the country. The President talked about what the economy has been done, and he's talking about an economy that is ready for a takeoff. This week, the Finance Minister will present the budget to Parliament and said it will focus on job creation. The Minister is a magician. That's according to the President. He always finds resources at places you never expect him to find. That's the President talking there. He said that the economy will be strengthened by the budget, which will focus on removing the bottlenecks in doing business and which will also consolidate the withdrawal of certain taxes described as nuisance taxes. So these are the projects that are expected to provide the jobs. The Infrastructure for Poverty Eradication Program. And under the program, there are the one district, one factory, one village, one dam, small business development, agricultural inputs, including equipment, water for all projects, and sanitation. These projects are supposed to provide the needed jobs for the country. That's the President talking there. Mr. Adekoya, let me begin with you. The issue of jobs is key here. We've seen an economy that perhaps has stabilized to some extent. The President says that this is the time to build on and provide the jobs. We can trust the provision of jobs in the 2018 budget.
But as I said earlier on, at this moment of time, the President is giving everybody hope. And I'm saying that until Wednesday comes, where we will see what is in it, we can only make speculation. But it's a good idea that you want to create jobs, because there's a lot of youth unemployment in the system. So anything that will enable jobs to be created is welcome. But I thought they were.
Have you seen an economy that is ready to create jobs?
Well, for the past 12 months, nothing has happened. For the past 12 months, you go out there, a lot of people are struggling, right? So when you say economy is going to take off, I want to find out. You see, economy will be robust.
That's a proper thing to say. For the past 8 years, nothing has happened.
Please. You see, when I'm on this program, when you are talking, you have a problem, give him a pen and a paper. The producer,
I have a notepad on my phone, don't worry about it.
Just make notes, and then you can
react.
Otherwise, you throw me off my
But as a Santa Claus, they can always recover and deliver. So,
you know, like I was saying, jobs such as sanitation, those jobs is to clean the streets. You see, you want sustainable jobs. That's the important thing. You want sustainable jobs. All these things that you are saying, they are micro jobs that for a period of time they fizzle out. But you want long-term jobs. So I thought they'll come out with policies that will give us long-term, and you know how you create long-term infrastructure development.
The one district, one factory is one of them.
You see, this one district, one factory, there's something called economics of scale. And also, you look at what type of industry, what type of factory are you going to put up? Nobody has. People just say one district, one factory. What type of factory? Are you going to put up a factory that is going to employ 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 people? We just use those words and we don't interrogate it. How many people are they going to employ? You see, but when you are talking about sustainable jobs, you are talking about, and every country that thrives on job creation, which is sustainable, is infrastructure development. We have a huge deficit in housing. So if you take the housing sector, for instance, and you say that for the next 5 years, we are going to build X amount of houses all over the place, that job is sustainable because you don't have the masons, the carpenters, the steel benders, all manner of people, the food vendors, you understand? So that job for the next 5 years, they are creating a sustainable job situation. So it depends on what you are talking about. What you read there are these micro things that you have a few people here and there cleaning the streets and that kind of thing, which every government over the years has practiced that. At the end of the day, after a few number of years, it fizzles out. Now we go back to square one. Have we been able to clear our field over the years? No, because the way we go about it is not sustainable. So I want to see the budget, and I want to see, my brother used the word, want to change the Georgesburg economy, right? You are talking about huge factories. You go to China, and what has happened there? The factories there don't employ only 100 or 200 people. You're talking of massive infrastructure development, massive industrial development, massive. That's what we are talking about. This is what will take the youth out of the street, but this tinkling with the system and then creating one or two poverty alleviation and those things, they don't go very far. So let's wait and see if it is the same managing of social deficiencies, one or two. But then we are looking for huge, massive. I thought one district, we said that we are going to create huge factories, like Kwame Nkrumah did when we started our industrialization policy, right? We were talking about factories that are going to employ. We are going to have a double shift. People work from 9 to 5, and then the next day, in the evening, 7 to daybreak, another group of people will come to work. But if we don't have this kind of industry, one district, we are going to do garri processing, pineapple, orange. No. Look at what is coming from China. Look at what is coming from Turkey. Look at what is. Will you be able to be competitive enough? So these are the kind of things that we should stop tinkering with the system and rather be very serious about how we handle things.
The president himself is reported to have said that the only way to put this country's economy back on track is to change it from the Georgesburg economy which we know. So if the president is saying that the economy is not ready to take off and so there will be creation of jobs, it means that that Georgesburg economy is no more. But certainly that is not the case now.
But of course, I mean, the president's intent, and all the times that I've heard him speak and make reference to the Georgesburg economy, he's indicated that we need to move away from that economy, which is what we are in now. We just produce raw material for export. He wants to move away from the Georgesburg economy into an industrialization, of course, and that is what is anchored on his flagship policy of one district, one factory. Sure. And you see, look, unemployment did not start in the past 12 months, as my senior colleague wants the people of Ghana to believe. Because if it was the case, okay, that infrastructure is what creates long-term sustainable jobs, and they claim to have done more infrastructure than any other government in this country, unemployment would have been solved. But here we are. The numbers of unemployed youth in this country are huge, in spite of all the so-called infrastructure development that they claim to have done. What His Excellency the President is saying is really simple. That look, we can't continue to be producers of raw material and feed industries out there in the world, in China, in Turkey, in the Americas, in UK and other places across this country. We, for instance, have a cocoa global industry in excess of 100 billion. We only, together with Ivory Coast, will produce 65% of the entire world's cocoa production, and in the region of 5 billion. How is that possible? So we need to move beyond the 5 million and play in the 50 billion space. What would it take? We need to process more of our cocoa here in Ghana than exporting the raw beans.
But are we doing that?
Of course, that's a policy that's been rolled out in the one district, one factory. And I always say that
process cocoa,
see,
one district, one factory.
The President has clearly indicated that it's going to be agro-based processing, some of them, import substitution, and for export. I know that the bill is coming to Parliament soon, possibly this week or next week, to really develop our aluminium bauxite resources. And that clearly is going to create huge jobs. I was making a point that
since cocoa is a major export product, any talk about changing the Gadgetsburg economy should start from there.
Yeah, it started from there already. For the past 4 years or so, cocoa processing in Takrady was shut down. Why? Because some disagreement on the supply of cocoa beans. Wamco has been revived. We started production, started test production, and have started processing cocoa in Takrady as we speak. So steps are being taken. You all know that if you fail to plan, you are clearly on the path of failure from day one. So we've done 1 year of government, tried to consolidate some of the things that were not going right. All our economic indicators are looking in the right direction.
Do we know how many tons of cocoa Wamco is processing?
I do not have the figures offhand, but even if it was 50,000 tons, that clearly is a reduction in the raw beans that we would ordinarily be exporting, and the income that we will earn.
But is that enough?
It's not enough, but that is why the policy is to encourage the establishment of factories that clearly the president indicated when Mr. Ouattara came, that the two of them are working together to ensure that more value addition is added to our cocoa. It doesn't take a day to actualize that. It's a process that has commenced, and within the time that this government is in power, you would see clearly what it is that is being done in that
apart
space.
From Wamco, others are coming up.
Of course, and I am indicating that, you see, the whole notion of this one district, one factory doesn't seem to be well understood, maybe deliberately by my friends in the NDC. Because if you recall, the Ministry of Trade held a policy summit where they laid out clearly that the industrialization plan is actually a 10-point plan, one of which is the one district, one factory. And the one district, one factory is medium to large scale import substitution, export-based industry. It's not cottage industry like Mr. Ade.
Export to where? That's another issue.
Where do we export to?
Because we know the difficulty we have with the European and the American market.
Where do we export to? Could be the Asian countries, it's Europe, it's America. Don't we export to America as we speak?
The difficulty
I'm coming. We export
into that market.
Wait, you see, if we have issues with branding, marketing, and I know that all the documents that have been submitted to the One District, One Factory Secretariat that have been reviewed, all of these issues are being taken care of. Okay? And when the policy goes on full steam, that the factories and industries are being set up. Okay, and those things are going to happen. Okay, it's not some white elephant dream or policy that is sitting on paper. People are actually on the ground working daily.
A Gary processing factory.
It's not a one district, one factory.
No, it will fit into
but that's why I said that there's a 10-point plan. Okay,
great.
And there are medium, small scale, agro-based industries all in the 10. One district, one factory is completely separate and different from the other 9. So don't say that one district, one factory is Gary processing. It is not.
But I was just asking that if we have a Gary processing factory, what will it fit into? So we'll produce a Gary and what? Provide a jobs for the people.
But how do you produce Gary? You process cassava into Gary.
Yes, and what?
And,
where would the Gary
is a staple.
Because
don't people
if we
eat
don't
Gary?
sell the Gary, we cannot pay the people, and very soon the factories will go
People eat
down.
Gary. People from London come and buy Gary. They crave to take Gary to UK.
So we sell the Gary to London.
Don't trivialize the issue. I mean, he made a point that one district, one factory is Gary processing, and I've made it clear to you here that the one district, one factory that the Ministry of Trade and the Secretariat is talking about is not Gary processing. Okay, and that probably may find itself in one of the other policies amongst the 9 that the Ministry of Trade launched sometime in July. And Gary has a market in this country.
Honorable Minister, have you seen the map that came out that we have several Gary processing factories in certain districts? You haven't seen it.
Which map?
Okay, you haven't seen it.
Which map?
Of the 219 districts.
Did it relate to one district, one factory?
Exactly.
How so?
So you didn't see
I
it?
haven't seen it.
Okay, great. But let me tell you about it. There's a map of all the 216 districts. With every district, what is expected to produce? Palm kernel oil.
That's not what that document sought to portray.
Okay.
Please, what that document sought to portray was to indicate the raw material that are available in several districts across the country.
Okay, so in the Western region,
processing.
the coordinator of the one district, one factory was in Bogoso a couple of weeks ago, and the talk was about the oil palm industry. And on that map is the same thing. That district was supposed to produce oil palm. So perhaps we can take a look at that.
Right. Is it not the fact that Western region produces oil palm?
It is.
By palm fruits in this country.
It is.
And so is it not the fact that if you are interested in processing, Western region will be an ideal location to put up a palm processing plant?
Exactly, that's the point.
And is it not a fact that palm processing plant is not necessarily what you call it? A small scale
it is
industry. So
then,
what are we talking about?
Then you talk about part of the eastern region where cassava has a competitive advantage. So a Gary processing. But the key question is, what does these? Where would they fit into after producing these? How do we move on from the production to the selling and to sustain these jobs?
I'm not sure that Gary processing is part of one district, one factory.
Okay, all right.
Because I've indicated to you here that as far as my understanding is, the one district, one factory is medium to large scale industries that is targeted at producing for export and producing to meet our import substitution. Okay, we import a whole lot of fruit juice in this country. So if
a Kofi, for instance, can take over
absolutely,
the importation?
completely,
okay,
and that is the philosophy behind the one district.
Do you come in and before I bring in Johnny, I just
I'm here.
Oh yeah,
you see how my friend is struggling.
I'm not struggling. I'm not struggling at all.
Struggling.
Not at all. I'm not struggling at all.
Relax.
Go ahead.
Relax.
You see, you feel the propaganda. Yes, and that's exactly what he's seeking to do now. Go ahead. You have the floor.
You know, I've told my style is to keep quiet. When you finish, I tell you where you are wrong.
Okay, very quickly.
You ask me a simple question. Where does it fit? After all that, where does it fit? So that the job is, now I was talking about sustainable job.
Right.
We have had Gary factories in this country for umpteen years. You rightly said, you go there. Yes, when you're coming from Sugar Copy, Ada, you see the people with Gary, all those things there, right? what's the consumption of Gary outside Ghana? Outside Ghana. You see, you are talking about sustainable job. You are talking about import substitution. And you ask him, well, what kind of job are you going to create? No, don't let's kid ourselves. I still insist that you look at Dubai. Dubai, so many years ago, was just full of sand dunes. Today, Dubai has become the hub of the Middle East because of what infrastructure development, which will give you access to so many things: financial investment, hotelier, airlines. When you got a very good infrastructure base, you have people trying to come and locate in your country, right? And facility that they bring along will enable our people. You see, most of you say you haven't created job for the youth. Most of our youth are either in marketing, public relation, the type of courses that they go to study, puts them in a certain category. Where when they're talking about one district, one factory, you cannot get them to go and work there. Okay. You understand? So you want to create. Ghana is lacking a lot of infrastructure. Look, most international companies will want to locate in Ghana because this country has got a very peaceful atmosphere. But then, even the hotels for them to, or the offices for them to be able to rent is out. You understand? So when you are talking about, every economy thrives on huge infrastructure development, which gives you a multiplier effect. But this one district, we had a situation where where Alan Tremonti, when he was minister, let me finish. Alan Tremonti started what? The presidential initiative.
The PSI.
What? It's the same principle. This has been turned around.
His issue that you say you've done a lot of infrastructure in the past 8 years, and yet we had unemployment. It's also.
I've told you that was why we always say that there must be a paradigm shift. The paradigm shift must come from the type of courses that our students, our universities are churning out. We've got too many lawyers. Plenty. You got what in the humanities.
Okay.
You understand?
I'm grateful. Johnny has. I have Johnny.
Yes,
you got the map here. This is the map. I'm trying to look at it.
The one district, one factory map. So, lawyer, you were saying that this is not a Gary factory thing.
There are a couple of them, a couple of districts that were supposed to produce.
A couple of them, actually. And we have honey farms and poultry processing and all of that. But you said that Bright raised the question.
What's poultry processing?
Bright raised that's a poultry processing plant. I don't know what it means.
Construction material factory.
No, this is Banda poultry processing plant.
Poultry processing plant.
Exactly. So
and that's Gary processing.
No, I'm saying that Bright raised the question. You say the issues that he raised and what Mr. Adekoka raised as well were not what the map sought to portray. This is the map now. Can you explain to us briefly in a minute or two? Are we seeing anything different? This is what we're reading, and you say it sought to portray a different thing.
But is it not the case that we import a lot of poultry products in this country? So if government intends to set up a poultry processing plant in this country to process poultry, what is it not? Is it not a factory?
It is. But the key question for us.
And is it not an import substitution based factory?
Honorable Mesa, we have difficulty getting onto the huge markets. You know, our poultry cannot get to certain markets because of certain things.
Right.
So the
is
question
it not
is, when the
import
poultry
substitution
factory
if
is
we
set
produce
up, what does it fit into?
It substitutes the importation of poultry.
Local poultry industries are collapsing because they can't export. So how does it fit into the general plan to get these jobs and make them sustainable? I think these are the questions we're asking.
You see,
and I don't think they are questions that we should just throw away.
As far as I know, our local poultry industry has challenges, and the truth of the matter is
because they can't sell.
No, they can't meet the local demand itself. They can't. If they could meet the local demand, nobody will be importing poultry.
I see.
We don't produce enough poultry even to feed KFC. Okay, so they have to import. So
not because of the quality and issues like
what
that.
Quality issues? What quality issues are we talking about?
All right. Let me bring Johnny.
At Christmas, we buy chicken.
Let's take some
streets.
Yes,
of
right. Says Teacher Kujo in Chobodom Adantasi says Ghanaians electricity tariffs to go down in 2018 budget. Wonderful. This is the kind of president Ghanaians need in our country for now. President Akufo-Addo is God sent to Ghanaians. He promised he will fulfill. Ghanaians have hope in the MPP government will take our country to the promised land. All the best. Incoming chairman for Techiman South, Alaji Jaja. And Alasan Wana says, good morning to you and your viewers. It's obvious the former President Mahama has nothing new to show the good people of Ghana and even the so-called NDC. The only legacy he left behind are corruption, cancelling of teachers' allowance, Dumso, huge debt, a Mary Deal saga, Sada and Wyoming money scandals. I think what the NDC man is saying is right. We should wait and see what the MPP, MPPs, 2018, I don't get that. Yeah, I don't know if they're using this to blackmail us. Okay. Tell Adekoka that at the Sadel College didn't take excess students. His government refused to complete a dormitory for the boys in their entire 8 years in power. Elliot House is not choked, as he's saying. Well, it's instructive to know that both gentlemen are Santa. So
well, you know,
both gentlemen are
Santa. The truth of the matter is, he knows that during their time, Canterbury Hall used the ground floor, used to be classroom blocks when he was in Addis Ababa.
Anyway,
was converted to dormitories.
Let me continue my messages.
He knows.
Okay, gentlemen, so Santa Clausians are hearing you. Go back to your school and help them. Good morning, Bright. The reduction of electricity tariffs by 25% in the new budget is welcome news, but a merry-go-round gimmick. Have Ghanaians calculated the cumulative percentage increase in utility tariffs in the last 10 months? Cumulatively, such tariffs were raised above 30%, and so any 25% reduction is a political scam, and Ghanaians are smarter now. Isaku Gbamshe in Tamale. Bonti Benjamin and Echem Abuakwa says the zeal by the Akufo-Addo government to reduce electricity tariff and make job creation a priority in the coming year is a sign of great days ahead of us. Let's support the Akufo-Addo government to do more for Mother Ghana. The president, wake up from his slumber, or you say he should wake up. He keeps promising Ghanaians without fulfilling it. He said the same thing in the last budget, but rather it went up. He failed the Abosokan spare parts dealers. Corporate tax reduction promise no show. We trust his promises. We can't trust his promises again, because even when he promised the Asantehene that the Delta forces won't strike again, he failed, as he could not stop them from attacking the court. Musa Inima says so. Good morning, TV3. How can the church help your government fight vigilantism when those behind it are from your party? Mr. President, please, you were once dared by Kennedy Japan, a leading member of your party, that if you are a man, touch the Delta Force members and you will see. The next morning, the AG filed nolli prosequi at the KMA court to discontinue the case when there was evidence the state could use against them. What happened is history. So, Mr. President, how can the church help? Bashir Issa wants to know from Pusiga with Dana. Good morning, TV3. Please tell Nanado and Peter Meu that they should stop fooling Ghanaians. That Galamsey is ongoing. Come to this mining areas and see. All excavators which were brought from the bush have all gone back, and Operation Vanguard people know where these machines are working. That's exactly my point. Hey, what is the only president talking about? Creating jobs for people. 1,000 qualified small-scale miners are jobless, and you said you are creating jobs. You are replacing workers, not creating, Mr. President. Try to be serious with Ghanaians. Why? Professor Shak from Northern Region. Perhaps finally, good morning, TV3. My name is King Hassan in Zabzugu. If I may ask, what was the theme for the 2017 budget? Asempa, is it not? If my mind set me right, the theme was sowing the seeds for growth and jobs, and they are coming back to tell us that 2018 budget is going to focus on job creation. What was 2017 budget meant for, and when they thought it was the Asempa budget? I'll leave it here. We'll read some more later after this. Right. Thank you very much.
All right. I'm grateful for your time. Let's wrap up on this one. Gentlemen, I'm grateful for your time. Any 30 seconds, Honorable Mesa, just in wrapping up.
Well, I am hopeful. This week promises to be an exciting one. The budget is coming on Wednesday. I have realized that the NDC in Parliament is trying to set the tone by organizing some breakfast meeting to discuss whatever budget that has not even been read. So I wonder what it is that is going to be in their breakfast meeting. Is it today or tomorrow?
It's today. Today. Actually, yeah.
I think so. I wish them well, but I will, one of the messages that the 2017 budget was the thing of sowing seed. Of course, the seeds have been sown.
Right.
And so it's time to, as it were, harvest, and the jobs will come in 2018.
Grateful.
No, I remember them saying that they were going to pay all the contractors. Up to now, as we sit down, they have not been paid. Up to now. You understand? He has a simple question. This one district line, he says not a Gary factory, but your what do you call it? Exposition should indicate.
This is what came up during the
exactly. You see, so
there was
look,
a map
look,
of
until we stop these little gimmicks and try to be serious, look at the bigger picture and tell ourselves, within the next 5-10 years, this is what we want to do. Seriously. But if we keep tinkering, because we want to give a political manifesto promises, we want to tinker with it and give them something is going to happen. Up to now, it should tell us, the contractors that they said they are going to pay, have they paid them? Still there.
But
on the
I'm grateful.
issue.
Oh, don't come back.
No, it's important.
Have you paid them?
Have you paid them?
You see, I know that the ministry is
but the
reviewing,
question at paying them.
reviewing. Look, the NDC government signed contracts worth
and
in roads
government,
19 billion.
Government is continuing.
So
19. What is the total tax revenue of the country in 2016?
Okay.
Yet they signed contract worth 19 billion.
I'm
That will take 10 budget cycles to pay. Is that responsibility?
Are there works that has to be
done? You call that responsible?
Are there works that has to be done?
Okay.
Reckless management of this country.
No.
Member of Parliament for secondary constituency.
When you sign 19 billion, please.
Chairman, grateful you sent in your comments, and we'll keep reading them. Have a great Monday morning. Stay with us right here because there is more coming. Let's tell you about the instruction to get the works back and exactly what it means for these judges, as the Chief Justice has directed that these works be worn now. Solomon Menya has this.
Judges and lawyers started wearing wigs around 1680. For 150 years, the legal wig was usually of powdered white or grey hair. In 1822, Humphrey Ravenscroft invented a legal wig made of whitish grey horsehair that did not need frizzing, curling, perfuming or powdering. Judges as well as lawyers wear the short wigs during court sittings, but judges of the Superior Court wear the long wigs for ceremonial purposes.
Many have held that Ghanaian and African judges need not wear these robes and wigs in order to perform effectively. Some have also said that these wigs and robes makes our judges look a little bit alien to our people. While some believe it is uncomfortable, others say it is unsuitable for the scorchy and hot weather of this part of the world. But is that the case?
Lawyers are supposed to wear a robe fondly called advocate's gown and a collar band along with it while appearing before the judge. What are the reasons behind having a standard court dressing style? The directive by the Chief Justice Sophia Kufu instructed judges to ensure they are fully attired in robes alongside the wigs. Her Ladyship, the Chief Justice, also indicated that the new directive is aimed at eliminating what she described as creeping casualness in the judicial system. Some lawyers who spoke to us off camera said the robes can be worn, but wigs, also known as peruke, should have been done away with rather soon after the British dominance. So, why are Ghanaian judges still wearing the wigs? Justice Victor Ofoe is a Court of Appeal judge and President of the Association of Magistrates and Judges of Ghana. He disclosed that there was an earlier directive instructing judges to discontinue the use of the wigs.
What I got to know was that we were suspended on experimental basis. So the Chief Justice currently instructing the wearing of the wig and gown is just reinstating something that we were doing before and which was suspended for whatever experiment to be performed.
Is it colonial and will need to be done away with? He debunked assertions that the attire is meant to intimidate the public.
You go to court and they'll be quoting cases, Queen's Bench 1853. Colonial. There's some uniqueness about the judges. And so why don't you enhance the uniqueness by putting on the wigs that we were wearing before? I do not see why you go to a courtroom, several parties in the courtroom, and you see judges wearing some particular uniform and gown, wig, then you say, you are afraid.
Justice Victor Foy recounted the nostalgia around the wearing of the wig as a young lawyer.
I was the happiest human being on earth. To find myself also wearing wig and gown, that was being worn by lawyers those days, very elderly old men lawyers. I appreciated it more that my position has changed.
A retired Supreme Court judge, Justice V.C.R.A.C. Crabb, supported the maintenance of this practice, dismissing the argument of it being colonial, questioning why as a country we still speak the Queen's language.
I have a very simple answer to it. Don't we also have brains? Do we have to do something because it's being done in the British? They brought it to us. We have accepted it. We are working with it. If they have given it away, does it mean we have to give it away? That line of thinking means that any time they do something in Britain, we have to do it. If they are foolish, we have to be foolish. Is that how we are going to develop?
The retired Supreme Court judge said the wig has a spiritual connotation representing the judge's allegiance to God.
If you look at a judge's bench wig, you will find at the top a round circle. Within that round circle, the strands are not curly, they are straight. You know why? It's supposed to represent the fire which came upon the disciples of Christ at Pentecost. That should tell you the spiritual aspect of the work of a judge. And I believe what the Chief Justice is trying to do is that every day a judge sits in court, he should be reminded that he owes some allegiance not only to his country, but also to God.
After the directive of the Chief Justice, how has judges and magistrates been complying? The news team visited the legal shop on the Ghana Law School campus where these robes and wigs are sold. Amanda Timar is the salesperson.
I must say it's quite okay compared to the previous years. This year they've really been buying, and I personally heard the news that was last week ago. But since then, yesterday for instance, a lady came here and asked for the price. A gentleman came this morning and bought one. So it's making the market booming very well.
Clearly, the wigs will simply not go away anytime soon, as an earlier effort to do away with it did not achieve the needed results.
So for many of you, when you hear the word karma, what comes to your mind is the mantra that says, what goes around comes around. But today we're launching a different kind of karma, and we're going to talk about that because it's related to maternal mortality and its reduction. Speaking to me, I have Mrs. Hannah Addo. She is a practicing midwife at the La General Hospital. She also works with the Ghana Health Service. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are we?
We are doing good.
Great. So let's talk about karma. What does it mean? And it's an acronym, but what exactly does it stand for?
KAMA stands for Campaign on Accelerated Reduction of Maternal Mortality in Africa.
And
it
so
is an African Union initiative with the theme Africa Cares, and that no woman should die whilst giving life.
Certainly, no woman must die whilst giving life. But would, people would say that UN has oftentimes funded many of the maternal mortality issues. And so why at this point are we raising karma? Is it even relevant for us in this particular time?
Yes, it is relevant because most African countries, our culture plays a very significant role. And that imparts the responsiveness of our health issues. It governs our behavior.
Right.
Yeah.
So are you implying that if the women who are dying in Ghana or in Africa were to be in a different continent, the situation may have been different? And then what is karma going to do to address this concern?
Yes. Out of every 10 pregnancies, 2 of them will encounter complications.
Right.
And sometimes the way the complications are handled also will determine whether the woman survives it or not.
Certainly.
Also, too many pregnancies, in effect, multiplies the too many complications we are bound to encounter. This is why the African Union took this campaign launch as a priority.
Right. But what are some of the challenges that we face and we have identified as the causes of maternal mortality in Ghana?
In Ghana, most of the causes are hypertensive disorders of pregnancy and sometimes bleeding or blood issues. Yeah, they are the leading cause of maternal mortality in Ghana.
But also transportation has played a role, because we know in certain districts where even getting to the nearest facility is an issue, ambulance services. And so even as a nation, before African Union champions our cause, what are we doing to, obviate these causes?
The inception of karma is trying to accelerate the political leadership and then mobilize funds and then enrich the women's knowledge of their reproductive health and choices they make that will have impact on their making informed decisions for themselves.
Right.
For example, if a woman is well informed about her reproductive rights, she is empowered to embark on any family planning method of choice without the consent of the husband.
Right.
Also, if a woman has had too many children, she can decide not to have. And by this means, the woman is not exposed to the risk of pregnancy complications and also the risk of dying. So these are some of the things that karma has come.
But what are the 3 main focuses of karma? What are the main targets for karma?
The main targets of karma, like I said, is to 1, empower the woman so that the woman knows her reproductive rights. And then also to help the woman, encourage best practice in all member states to be replicated.
Right.
Yes. Also, karma seems to intensify actions, reducing maternal and infant mortality. In fact, karma aims at allowing or encouraging member states to use maternal mortality as an indicator or a measure by which they can measure how their health system is working. For example, the high the maternal mortality rates go up, it is indicative that the health system of that particular country is not functioning.
Right.
But the low the maternal mortality reduces, it is an indicator that the health function of that country is performing well.
Certainly.
Well, yeah. And also, if every country within the African region is performing the best practice, if it is replicated, like we take Ghana, even for instance, and these 10 regions of ours, we all practice the accepted way that conforms to standard. Everywhere, definitely the maternal mortality would be reduced drastically. And this implies that every Ghanaian should embrace this campaign very, very, very well. In fact, it's a wake-up call for all midwives as the tools that are used at the bottom line for the achievement of this aim, that we will all come up and give up our best so that the aim and objective of this campaign will be realized.
Certainly. But where's the campaign launch happening? So
it is starting today at Malamata Market with a health screening exercise. And then from there, they will come to the Wager, the Ghana South Municipal Hospital. No, the municipality for a Debar of Chief, a gathering there.
And then so it's not in the hospital setting, but everyone is allowed to come.
Yes.
Very well. Yes. Anyway, so you heard it right here from NewDay. We're talking about CAMA, which is an acronym for Campaign on Accelerated Reduction of Maternal Mortality in Africa. And every one of us plays a role in allowing this to happen. So do join the campaign as we launch it today. We have more on NewDay for you, so stay right here with us.
Welcome back. Established in 1979 as a gift from the Japanese government in memory of that fantastic Dr. Noguchi, who came to Africa sometime in 1928 to find out the origins of yellow fever. Unfortunately, the man himself had to succumb to yellow fever and he died. That's the story of Noguchi Medical Research Institute. And this morning, as they mark their 90th, we've been joined by Professor Kwabena Manti Busumpim is the director of the center. Prof, welcome. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
And also with him is the Japanese ambassador to Ghana, His Excellency Kairo Yoshimura. And I should like to say, Ohayogo Zaimasu.
Right.
Good morning.
Did I say it right?
Very good.
Absolutely.
Very good. Perfect.
Welcome. Happy 90th to you and all the folks at Noguchi.
Thank you very much.
So 90 years on, what can we say are the high points of Noguchi?
The Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research was established, as you said, in 1979. And the Institute was given a mandate, a 3-point mandate, to first of all conduct research into communicable and non-communicable diseases. And to use research, to leverage research for evidence-based information to support the Ghana Health Service. And then to also conduct, capacity building to train the next generation of scientists, especially postgraduates. And the third mandate is to develop specialized diagnostics and support tools for alleviating health conditions in Ghana.
Would you say Noguchi is up to the task of all these 3 stages that you've mentioned?
Wonderfully, the Noguchi Institute has measured up tremendously to this task. First of all, the Institute has emerged as a forerunner of biomedical research institutes, not only in Ghana and not only in West Africa, but globally. The Institute today stands as even the center of resource for many endemic and epidemic diseases. For example, take HIV/AIDS. The Institute is a reference center for confirming infections, testing and confirmation. Take Ebola. The Institute is the center that has developed the capacity for next generation genomics to be able to measure up to emerging and re-emerging diseases. Take other diseases like tuberculosis, name it what. So many other diseases, polio, influenza, bird flu. The Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research has been the forerunner, providing the capacity, the first line of support for the Ghana Health Service. So really, it's emerged as a strong institution.
All right. Your Excellency, you put up this as a gift from the Japanese government to Ghanaians. Have you been satisfied with the exploits of the Noguchi Medical Center?
We fully satisfied with the accomplishment made by Noguchi Memorial Institute. Well, first of all, lots of Japanese researchers, first from Fukushima Prefectural Medical College, and then other medical colleges and research institutions joined the research works together, and of course they transfer their knowledge and scientific research outcomes to Ghanaian researchers. At the same time, they learned a lot. And this year, as you said, marks 90th anniversary of Dr. Noguchi's arrival on Ghana. Lots of visitors come to Ghana and visit Noguchi Memorial Institute, and they all are impressed. The neat and well-organized institution. Now, almost 40 years after it was constructed.
Right. I'm happy that you say you are excited, but Prof, let me come to you. Yes. So the man Noguchi himself came for the downtrodden, the ordinary people. It does appear that Noguchi has somewhat become a center for the elitists. I can't walk in and demand for some things. The Makala woman, the woman from Agbogbo, she cannot walk in. Why is that so?
Really, actually, it's not so. And we have taken various steps to correct this impression. As we speak now, the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research is open to the public today. We have an open day. Anybody who wishes to visit the institute can visit and actually see the research facilities. Besides that, as I mentioned, the institute is to provide specialized diagnostics. Indeed, it's not just a research institute. It is an institution that is linked very clearly with the Ghana health delivery system. Right. So, for example, if you were to go to even our topmost hospitals, let's say the Kwalibu Teaching Hospital, you have a health problem and the diagnosis is difficult, the next place to go is the Noguchi Institute, where further investigations can be done based on research findings to support the treatment. So really, we are linked to the public in a very strategic way.
Professor Dr. Noguchi, and his story is very interesting indeed. He came down to find out about yellow fever. He got struck by malaria, yellow fever, and he had to die through that.
Yes.
Years on, from 1928, have we found a credible vaccine for a major parasitic disease like malaria? Have we found it yet?
That's an interesting question. You know, one thing that scientists have learned is that developing vaccines appear to have two main, realities. Vaccines against viruses and then perhaps some bacterial infections are more easy to develop as compared to vaccines against parasites. In veterinary medicine, it's a bit more easier. In humans, it is more difficult.
Right.
For malaria, even though we haven't got a vaccine yet, we've done a lot of tremendous advances in research on malaria. The Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research, for example, was a key partner and key player in all the research that looked at the drug sensitivity. For example, how are human beings in Ghana responding to chloroquine treatment? And when the drug was beginning to fail, come up with evidence-based information to be able to take the clear decision of changing from chloroquine to combined therapy. And since that has been done, many more lives have been saved, and we have been protected far more than
Can we ever get to the stage where we'll have a vaccine that says that if the mosquito bites you, you will not get malaria? Because it's prevalent here, really. Every single minute, maybe 3, you get a lot of people die from it.
Yeah, actually, Noguchi Institute is conducting various researches on developing vaccine against malaria.
Right.
One of the researches, for example, that we are doing is quite interesting. is, when the malaria parasite gets into the body, it grows into various stages.
Right.
Eventually, it will get into a stage we call gametocytes. The gametocytes are the only stage of the parasite that can be picked by the mosquito for the mosquito to become infective, to infect another person. We are doing a lot of research, for example, looking at how to either stop the gametocyte stage or develop a kind of resistance of the gametocyte infecting the mosquito, so that we just interrupt transmission.
Are we close? When are we? We're in 2017.
We are making a lot of progress.
Do we have timelines? Do you have timelines for this?
Yeah, we have timelines. In science, sometimes it's difficult to be clear-cut. Right. But our timelines are within 5-10 years, we should make tremendous progress.
Professor Martin Busupim, I thank you very much. His Excellency, you have the final word. I know that the Japanese week is up. We're told our time is up. But give me 2 key highlights quickly in commemoration of the 90th.
This year, Japan Week is now taking place. And there are 2 aspects. One is academic ones. And today and tomorrow, we are having the conference at the University of Ghana to discuss our 40 years diplomatic relations.
Right.
And of course, Thursday and Friday at Noguchi Memorial Institute, we will have symposium. And then other fun parts, sports events such as karate and judo championships. And Japan, Ghana, Yosakoi festivals. Those are the main events
highlights
throughout the week.
I thank you. 11th to 19th November. I thank you very much. Professor Kwabena Mante Bosompim is the director of the Noguchi Medical Research Institute, and His Excellency Kaoru Yoshimura. Is the Japanese ambassador to Ghana. Thank you very much. And sayonara. Sayonara. My Japanese is spot on, right? We'll return after this break to wrap up the show. Stay with us on NewDay.